Hi guys, it's the Brights coming to you live, Sunday Night Live from our studio kitchen.
All the way from Houston, Texas.
Yes, and tonight we're doing Facebook Live from the Brights page because we want to be able to post it better, promote it more, and we can do that from a business page more than we can our personal pages. So we're going to try it tonight. And if it doesn't work, doesn't matter because we have a new YouTube channel and it's The Real Brights. And so we put all of our videos on The Real Brights now, and we're getting quite a little library doing this every Sunday night. So
hopefully it's helping y'all because it's definitely helping us.
Yeah, it makes us go over things and remember things that maybe we had maybe even forgotten over time so that we can have our marriage strong. So, well, if it's helping y'all, great, but it's definitely helping our marriage. And so tonight we're going to talk about expectations in marriage. Today, well, actually, let's talk about this first. So this weekend, it's been kind of a whirlwind weekend. Friday night, we did the Faith Family Awards. We were MCs for the Faith Family Awards and had a great night, right? They were really a lot of fun. And we just love to MC. So if you guys know of any churches or events, we're great. We love to MC. It's our favorite thing. And we also came home to kind of sad. We spent a whirl. It was like an up and down weekend. We went from having this great weekend to Friday night, coming home and our little dog, y'all, if some of y'all know Chica, our little fur child, she had a hurt paw and we didn't know what was wrong. And we thought it was her paw and she was hurting and she was whimpering and crying and we were freaking out. And so we went to the emergency care and spent most of our weekend doing that, getting x-rays, and she has a dislocated shoulder. So it's really sad. And, but we're going to orthopedic surgeon soon and hopefully everything will be good, and we're believing that she won't need surgery.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Yes, we've been praying over her, and our friends are all praying over her, and we're believing that she's just healed in the name of Jesus. So we're going to talk about expectations in marriage, and today we taught the pre-marriage class. We didn't get to go to church because we were home with our little dog, but we did have a pre-marriage class that we taught, so we kind of scooted up there for an hour or so, and we were talking about myths in marriage, and we said, what a great subject for us to talk about on our Facebook Live this week. And actually we started talking about it and we can probably break it down to about 3 different Facebook Lives because expectations in marriage covers a lot of different topics. And that was a good one, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And it was.
So expectation of marriage, couples start out and we get the pre-marriage. We also teach a marriage class, but we also teach a pre-marriage class. And those couples come in and they're so sweet and they're happy. And we talk about this, sometimes they're sharing a chair because they're just in this.
They're like, oh baby, they don't know what they're talking about. This will never happen to us.
And they're in this euphoric thing, which is,
it's
cool.
Yeah.
It really is neat, but they're shell-shocked, a lot of them, when they actually get married and, it's not what they thought. The expectations are high, or the misconceptions that they have are this, and then their spouse has totally different or expectations, and they get married, and these are things they might not have ever talked about, especially if they're in this lovey-dovey stage, and they're just thinking about their wedding, and how many bridesmaids they're going to have, and how much money they're going to spend, and what the cake tastes like, and I think women especially, we have this fairy tale thing in our head about marriage and weddings.
Plus, when we're dating, the men they got their A game. They're coming full throttle, 100%.
Hunting.
They're listening. They're attentive. We're hanging on all of your words. We can talk for hours. And for a woman, man, that's what they're emotional. So we're giving all this emotion and we're putting that all out there. And the wife is thinking, man, it's going to be like this always. He's always going to be there. We're always going to be talking. He's always just going to share. And he just lets me talk. And he just wants to hear.
Why is that? Because y'all are like pursuing
We're
us.
pursuing you.
I mean, it's kind of like cavemen days. I mean, some men don't. Okay, I'm going to do a disclaimer. 80-20 rule. You might not be that guy. But for 80% of the guys and the couples that we talk to, that's how it is. It's the chase. Men like the pursuit. They like the chase. They like the hunt. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to get their woman so they can bring them back to the cave.
That's me. That's
make fire.
Oh, make fire. You make cook, woman. You make cook.
I mean, that's how it was for us. I mean, maybe it wasn't that way for you. Y'all might be way more sophisticated, but for us, it was Richard was on the hunt. Like he was pursuing me. We talked for hours, and we you know,
I had so much time, and I wanted to make sure, I used to work out across the street from her house just to show her that, hey, I'm here, I'm working out, I'm flexing my muscles.
he was outside. Okay, we had a gate outside of the townhouse where I lived, and he would get there early.
I was impressing
or
her.
I was probably late because I'm always late. So he would be standing over by his truck with his barbell things, and he would just be like, "Oh, I didn't know you were right there."
Just killing some time as I was waiting for you, my beauty.
So I could see his muscles, and so that's how we did. We pursued each other, and we had these. And I've been married twice before. Richard had been married before, so it wasn't like we just were coming to it naive, but we still came into it, even though we'd been married before. We'd had other weddings. I always tease about it, but I love weddings. I've been the star of 3 of them. Even though it was my 3rd wedding, I was still just as excited. I still had that fairy tale thing that we were going to live happily ever after. He was going to be the right one this time, and he was just going to meet all my needs, and this was it. We had to, I was what he was looking for, he was what I was looking for,
and we thought it was all going to work out. We wanted to live together, and we were never going to get married. Then we decided, okay, let's get married, and because that had changed. Once we get married, all this fighting and stuff will stop. Well, it didn't. It just continued to escalate. But I had to go to work. I had to start getting busy. She had to go to work. So that time that I was chasing and pursuing her, well, now I'm putting that energy somewhere else. So
because now he brought his woman home, and now he had his next, I think, man trait was to go provide, and to go out there and to then
slay the dragon,
take care of the woman that he had pursued and brought back in. But I'm thinking, wait a minute, what happened? You were the guy that was going to be different from everyone else. You weren't going to work all the time. You were going to spend all your waking moments gazing into my eyes, and so we thought we were going to live happily ever after. He thought I was the woman of his dreams. I was hanging from the chandeliers all the time, and then I'm like, oh, I got the kids now. I got his kids came to live with us. All of a sudden, real life set in, right?
Yeah.
And so living happily ever after is probably the biggest misconception
in
that people
marriage
have when they get married, no matter what age and how many times
they always think it's going to stay like this forever. It's always going to be like this. And it's not. Marriage is just a time of different seasons. And you never go back to the way it was, before kids. It's just you and your wife, and you think, man, this is great. It's just her and I. And you have kids. And then, well, when the kids are moved out and they're gone, it'll go back. But it doesn't. It's just a different season.
Right. And so this season is the happily ever after. We think it's happily ever after season. And it's what we saw our parents do. We might have these roles and stuff from what we saw our parents do, if both your parents were in the home, or maybe what we got from TV or movies. Richard and I always tease about movies that you go to the movie theater, they've got 2 hours of boy meets girl, boy pursues girl. It's serendipity, how they all just kind of happen at the same time, and it's a whole soulmate thing. And then at the end of the movie, right before the credits, they're married, they're kicking off their shoes, they're popping the champagne, they're all dancing, and you walk out of the theater feeling so great, and they're so happy that they're going to live happily ever after. But nobody ever tells you how that happens. You just assume that they do, and it's all going to be magical. And that's what happens with couples. They come in and they think it's going to be magical, and no one's really ever talked about, what does that look like? And what does that even look like to you? Even if it were to be happily ever after, what does your happily ever after look like? And we have two totally different expectations of it, and like we said, some unrealistic expectations. So myth number 1 is we expect exactly the same thing in marriage. And so we're going to talk about that, number 1, and then A and B. So we expect exactly the same thing in marriage. What we anticipate seldom ever happens, and what we least expect is usually what happens. That's kind of what happened in our life. Everything we thought was going to go our plan did not go along with our plan. Not one thing. And then marriage also brings lots of conscious and unconscious expectations that we never talked about. So here we are. We come into this deal. We have it falls into 2 categories. One is unrealistic expectations or unspoken rules. And so unspoken rules. Tell them about the dictionary.
The way we like to put it is everybody comes into marriage with a invisible dictionary. And this dictionary is the dictionary of Richard. This is everything that I've ever gone through in my life, everything I've ever experienced, all the good, all the bad, just everything, from prior relationships to the way I was treated in school, just everything. And it's all in this book of Richard. And this is and to me, this is truth. On this right here, this is to me how my life is lived.
And then what your parents,
and yeah,
the marriage part,
right?
That part of the dictionary.
What part?
The dictionary where you're talking about what marriage looks like.
Right. Everything in my life is in this dictionary. Well, my wife, she has her dictionary, and very seldom do the topics are the same. Very seldom. So when it comes to taking out the trash, who's going to do the laundry, who's going to cook, who's going to pay the bills, who's going to go to work, who's going to take care of the kids, everybody has what they know to be true. And if you don't talk about it, then that's where the
and so
is.
My family, so we're going to talk about roles too, the unconscious roles, but first we're going to talk about the rules, and that is we were totally different coming into this. I came into it with my family is, we always tease about it, but my family, Richard calls them tidy whities because they're white, they're Caucasian, they're very uptight. They just had a lot of, everything had a rule. I mean, you wore shoes in the house. You didn't go barefoot. You barefooted. I'm not sure which one's proper English. You didn't. You made the bed up every day.
You don't say the word booger.
Yes, you don't say the word fart. You don't say the word booger. You don't.
Those are
hilarious.
cuss words.
We couldn't burp. Like we couldn't even say the word burp. I don't think.
You couldn't burp.
Well, I mean, it was just kind of gross.
My kids can burp the alphabet. That we can burp complete sentences. I like pie.
So we had all these different rules. So my family is very uptight. Richard was more of a free range child, right? Free range.
Free
family.
range. I like that. Yes, like I was free range.
And y'all didn't have. I mean, they kind of put a diaper on him and was like, run free, be who you are, find out your life, and y'all weren't like us. Our family had, everything had like a plate inside of a plate inside of another plate with chargers and all these different cups and everything. And my mom would just, I don't know, kind of uptight. And Richard's family just like kind of went with it. Yeah. So when I met Richard, I thought only the wife cooked. I didn't think that it hurt my feelings when he came in the kitchen and started cooking because your dad
did all the cooking. Because my mom, even though she was Hispanic, you would think she would just be the bomb in the kitchen and know her way around the kitchen. Oh my gosh, she could burn water. Okay, she cooked everything on high, everything. And she just couldn't cook. So my dad did all the cooking. Because of that, I did all the cooking. I learned to cook, and that's what I did.
And so I think I'm really tall for some reason. I'm gonna go down a little bit. There we go, because it makes you look like you're way taller than me, or shorter than me. And so your mom didn't do any cooking. So when I met Richard, and he was used to be doing the cooking. He always did it, and he came in the kitchen, and I thought that he was didn't like my cooking, or he was trying to show me how to cook, and that it hurt my feelings a lot at first.
I remember that.
Because I
was trying to teach you how to cook.
But then he was trying to teach me how to cook his way, and so how he salted things or how he did things, and everything was different.
Right way.
No, it wasn't the right way. My way is the right way. My way tastes better.
Mine was Tex-Mex, and yours was like I would make carne guisada, and she would make white girl guisada.
I still make white girl guisada, and he likes it even better now. It's so good because I have rice in mine. And so then my mom didn't even know where the gas went. I'm just gonna go down lower. How about that? My dad didn't know where the gas. My mom didn't know where the gas went in the car because my dad always filled up her car with gas, and that's just what I saw modeled.
I remember coming home one time, and I was running late, and I had to get somewhere else, and I have a work truck, and we had a nice car, and the nice car was where I went and did all my bids so people could see me driving around in a nice car. And I came home and it was on E, and she was crying. I thought, you don't love me anymore. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You've got a card, put some gas in it. No big deal.
But I just didn't understand why he wouldn't honor me like that. Like I thought men were supposed to, like, why would a woman go to the gas station? Now I don't even think anything of it. I go gas my own car all the time, but it was just one of those unspoken rules, and it caused a problem. I didn't understand why he wouldn't come around and open my door. Or if he would get out of the car and just go in the house and not say, well, can I carry some of that for you? Can I do? So it was just little things like that were hurtful to me. And he thought, why are you getting so upset about it? And then we'd kind of get on that crazy cycle. I also believe that my mom, she paid all the bills. The woman was supposed to run the house, pay the bills. The man goes to work, gives her a paycheck, and that's how it goes. And that's not how he saw it.
No. because I had in our vows that, man, nobody touches my money. Even though when we first got married, I had a little bit and she had a lot of bit, and we didn't want to combine our money, or she didn't want to combine our money at first, but we did. And it turned out very well. Bank of Sherry opened up, and it's been open ever since.
Still going.
Going.
But we had to work these things out. We had to talk about these expectations and these things that we had between us. But at first, we didn't know how to talk about it without arguing. But we had to work through them and find out who does the bills? Why is it only the way Mom does it? Why is it the only way his family did it? Why don't we come up with our new way of doing it? What do you read? What are you looking at? Hey, Gail, I can see y'all having a marriage blueprint guide for couples. Thank you. I see that too. Richard, we're actually writing a marriage book, and Richard's written all his chapters. I'll just say that.
We're not even going to talk about that tonight. That's
okay.
a whole nother thing.
So making the bed every day was a thing. My family, I still make the bed every day. When I get up, I have to make up the bed. It's just a thing that I cannot have a day.
Because it creates what?
Self-discipline.
That's
and,
right.
And it's like that first accomplishment of the day. And I had my wedding ring on. I took it off when I was messing with Chica. So it's just that first accomplishment of the day. And then anytime I walk in the room, I see it's done. I just feel like it's order. I don't know. And Richard made the bed when our
people were coming over, we did it the right way.
Yeah.
We don't want to waste that extra minute.
And he didn't, his mom was not big on housekeeping. Me, I want everything there. I think you can't leave the house if there's a spoon in the sink. It has to be cleaned and put in the dishwasher. I can't leave the house. It's just one of those things.
We clean the house when we get back. Don't worry about it. Come on, let's go have fun.
Yes, Richard wants to play first and pay later. I want to pay first and play later. But
that was a huge rub.
Yeah, and so when I met him and his mom would come over to our house, oh my gosh. And my mother-in-law, Palmira Delilah de los Santos. Okay. So my white family,
that means
his
of the
Hispanic
saints.
family, and his mom would come over and she'd have like a little tissue because she wasn't big on housekeeping, and so she would just make fun of me because my house was clean. I mean, she was
something else.
And she would say, "Oh, look, it's like a museum. Nobody can sit anywhere. Let me see if I can sit here.
Is it okay? Can I sit here?
Yeah.
Well, Blondie." Oh my gosh.
So So we had all these different kind of rules, and then holiday rules. Some of the videos you've heard us talk about different holidays and the different.
Like she was talking about, they had all the plates and the chargers and all the different utensils to eat with. Man, Christmas for us was if all the paper plates matched and were gold rims. That was perfect. None of our silverware ever matched. That was just the way we grew up.
And my mom had several sets of silver, gold. Some were gold plated or whatever. They weren't real gold, but gold plated.
We had forks and knives and spoons, and that was it.
And so we had all these unrealistic expectations. So I came in thinking that's how it was going to be at our house. And I was raised where when you got sick, they gave you tomato soup and a grilled cheese sandwich. Richard's family.
When we got sick, man, my mom cracked an egg because Mijito has ojo. They've been staring at him too long. We had to take all these evil spirits out and put an egg and crack it and put it underneath the bed.
Isn't that like voodoo?
That's voodoo, man. Mexican voodoo, But I'd rather have the tomato soup and sandwich myself.
But we didn't know. And so, again, here we come. He's trying to take care of the kids this way. And I'm thinking,
I never did crack an egg and all that stuff, man. That
but it
freaked me out.
Too.
Okay, my grandmother was a Polandera.
When your mom would try to do all this stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, we gotta start casting out evil spirits, But also at my family, it was a house. Your house always has to be company ready. You get up, you get dressed, you make your bed, everything has to be ready in case anybody happens to ring the doorbell. I don't care if it's the UPS man. Richard's family, like I said, more free range.
We were free range. It was all natural.
They didn't care. If somebody's coming over, then they run around, throw some stuff, and
put it all in the closet.
Mm-hmm. I have my rules were unrealistic rules. Richard expected me to be ready early, to go everywhere early.
Oh my gosh. Okay. If we're going to go there and we're going to keep it real, you see, my dad was a drill instructor in the Marines. So if you had to be somewhere at 8 o'clock, your appointment was at 8 o'clock. If you weren't there by 7:30, you were late.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's how I was raised my whole entire life is be 30 minutes early. You have to be 30 minutes early.
If you're not 30 minutes early, you're
late
or something.
Yeah. And so, and
it's still in my heart.
It's still in my soul. When we're running late, But now we've been together for 15 years, so I know that that
He knows
could
he's
be a
going to be
touchy
waiting
subject.
on
So
for me for a while.
I don't react like I used to react.
Yeah. And I do try to be better about it. And we do get places a lot better, usually by the skin of our teeth, but we do get places a lot better. But I have no concept of time. Like yesterday we had to go back to, we took our dog because she was hurt. And then we had, they told us to come back at 4:00. So we came back and it was like 3:00 and he goes, oh, we need to go to the appointment. I'm thinking it's 6 miles from here. I got enough time to, I don't know, clean the house.
Clean the house, clean the
I mean, I
kitchen,
had
cook
time to
dinner,
do
put
some
a
stuff.
fresh coat of paint.
I didn't understand why we were leaving it. I'm like, Richard, it's 3:00, and it's probably, even with traffic, 20 minutes, But then he was like, well, I don't want to be late. I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure we're not going to be late. But by the time that he got changed and we got everything in the car, we did all this up. It was 3:15. By the time we got there and got through traffic, we got there like 15 minutes early. I was like, so this is what this feels like. This is pretty cool. And
I was still stressed.
You were?
Yes, because we didn't leave at 3:00.
Oh, well, anyway, I thought we did great because we left, normally.
And that's just one of those things. When you're single, man, you do everything that you want to do. Man, I was never late to anything because I was in charge of my own time. There was nobody else. There was no kids to get dressed. Your wife wasn't putting on makeup. It was, man, I'm there. So there's different, when you get married, there's somebody else involved. It's no longer about you. And God uses marriage to help us in the areas that we're weak in, whether it be time, whether it be cleaning. He uses my strengths in time to help her. He uses her strengths with cleaning and organization to help me. And when we stop fighting that and we start to accept that, then we stop yelling at each other. We stop disagreeing with each other. And we see, you know what? My wife has best intentions for me. She really is on my side. Even though it seems like she is trying to teach me something, always. But it's just how you look at things, guys. And I know that I would rather do this with my wife than to do it without my wife.
Yeah. And we've worked out a lot of those things. A lot of the things that, I still have certain things that are important to me. Like I still like the bed made every day. I still like the house to look nice or whatever. But I've also learned to be able to have more fun. Richard's helped me to kind of take it down a notch. He kind of took it up a notch, and now he really enjoys it. The house is nice. And
I love it. I love a clean house.
Organized and clean and all that kind of stuff. But it was very hard for us at first. And it was we'd have to make compromises like, okay, 2 pairs of shoes are allowed in the living room at one time. That was like, because normally it'd be like 5 or 6 pairs.
I don't know how that happens. It's like they breed, and next thing you know, there's more shoes.
But now he doesn't even do that. Now he knows that we're very organized. He knows that that is important to me. And so what's important to me has become important to him. And things that are important to him have become important to me. And we've learned to kind of meet in the middle. But we, still had a lot of couples get married, and a lot of couples that we, talk with, I don't want to say counselor, we're not counselors, but we meet with and talk with. A lot of those couples come to us, and usually the things that they're having problems with, and when they think that they're not, they think they've fallen out of love. They think, I don't even know if I ever loved this person. Oh, I'm not in love anymore, because they don't have that romantic, happily ever after feeling they had at first.
The spouse isn't meeting their needs because they're feeling isolated and withdrawn, because the marriage isn't working the way God.
And all those rules are getting broken.
And all these rules are being broken every single day. And then, all these things that we learn in marriage class that, for every negative thing that happens in a good marriage, you need 5 spontaneous acts of kindness to negate 1 negative. But in a bad marriage, or in a marriage where you're struggling, every negative thing, you need 15 acts of kindness in one day for 1 negative thing. So you can see how that can mount up really quick, and over time really weigh in on a marriage.
Yeah. And so just kind of go, because we're going to talk about unconscious unconscious roles. And so we have expectations in marriage. You come into it, couples come into it thinking it's going to be a certain way. They both have these ideas in their mind of what marriage looks like, what they're going to do, what their spouse is going to be, how he's going to react when you do this happens, when that happens. You just maybe saw your parents do it, or other people, maybe your grandparents, or maybe you just saw it on TV and it just looked like that's how it always works out, and you get married. And we've talked to pre-marriage couples, and they thought, we just thought it was going to be, we loved each other enough, and love was going to be enough that we were going to get married, and it was just all going to be happily ever after. And then they get married, and then they feel like they're in a nightmare instead of a fairy tale.
The hardest thing to remember is, guys, there's two things that are definitely going to happen, and I'll say this over and over in all the videos that we do, that's going to happen in your marriage. For sure, two things. It's either going to get better or it's going to get worse. And it does not get better on its own unless you intentionally do something to make it better. But it will get worse on its own because that's just the way that happens. It just starts going. The isolation sets in, and I can't even talk to him. He doesn't. Oh, I can't talk to her. And then the enemy just starts feeding you more and more lies, and you just start to separate. But there is a cure for isolation, and it's called communication. And you have to sit down and talk as adults and be able to share what's on your heart. Now, some stuff you might not be ready to share, but so you start with the little things and share that.
Well, just these rules, even if you can't talk about the deep stuff, if you can get past some of these rules, we couldn't even get to all the deep things that we need to deal with, all the baggage, because we were too wrapped up in just the surface stuff. Because I had so many rules and he had so many non-rules. And so together, we couldn't even get past.
He had so many non-rules.
Well, I don't know how else to say. You just didn't have a lot of rules. He was way easier. I mean, he was just way lighter. Like, he didn't have all that. He had other kind of baggage, but he just didn't have. I didn't understand people that like live like his kids. I'm like thinking, well, okay, we're going somewhere. You had to dress a certain way, and if you're going out in public, man, in my family, one of the rules was you don't leave the house looking shabby. Like, you don't leave looking slouchy. Like, you put on your best whatever. Even if you're putting on your sweats, you still have your makeup done.
Even if we're going shopping at Walmart.
It does not matter. And I'm still that way today. One of the first thing I do, I get up, we lay in bed and pray, and we talk for about an hour. And then we set our alarm early. Once we get up, our feet hit the floor, it's like gets a cup of coffee, makeup goes on. Makeup's going on before it's even, that's just how it is. And that's how I've always been. And so we had those rules. So we had the kind of go back a little bit. So the misconceptions and unrealistic expectations that people have when they are dating or when they first get married, and then that kind of all falls apart. So the myth number one, which is this video, and we're going to probably do a couple other ones about the different myths because there's so much about each one and trying to cram them all in one. So this one is, we expect the same things. We think we expect the same things in marriage, right? But then we don't. So we've got the unspoken rules that we talked about. And the second one is unconscious roles. And that's, again, how we saw our parents do it, what we saw on TV, what we thought going into marriage, what our role was as a husband and as a wife. Yeah. And so what does that look like? If you break it down, like one person's the shopper, one person's the planner.
Or the navigator.
Mm-hmm. The cleaner.
Oh, I love it. One person's the comedian. No, we're both comedians, okay?
Well, I mean, they even say, because sometimes there's the jokester. One person thinks, we have a couple of friends that are like that, and the guys like the jokester. Whenever
something serious comes up, they make jokes about it because it's hard for them to talk about it. So let's joke about it, and it drives the wise crazy, or vice versa. We had one of our followers just say that she was married for over 30 years and been divorced for 7, and she loves being single, but she's afraid to date. And I just want to address that real quick, because that is just a tactic of the enemy to let you go back and remember your past and all those hurts and be afraid that that is what's going to happen again. And it's not, okay? We have to just be smarter, and we also have to learn that, hey, you know what? That was a time that happened. Look back, look at the mistakes, look at the good that happened from it, and don't be afraid to try something new
And I think really good point, because today we taught the pre-marriage class, and there was a couple single ladies in there today. And I love it when the single people go to marriage classes, they go to pre-marriage classes, they start working on themselves, and because it is scary to get back out there. And I can see why you would be scared. I was scared. I was married twice, and I was getting ready to do it again. And I thought my picker was broken. Like, how come I can't pick the right person? But what I realized is that I wasn't the right person. So I was attracting, unhealthy attracts unhealthy, and healthy attracts healthy. So in that interim time, while you're waiting for Mr. Right or for Mrs. Right, then you work on yourself so you can be Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. Because really it's more so of you finding that person that's the right person, is you being the right person, then you will attract that right person. And God will work it all out. Like, if you pray about it and you have a list, and it doesn't have to be exactly like he's a certain height and he's got a certain color eyes. It doesn't have to be, I mean, I guess you could do that. But to have some things that are deal breakers that that are on your list that you're believing God for. And I think not doing it too fast or not trusting God's timing, because I've seen this. We have friends that got tired of waiting on God, and they just said, you know what, God, I can't trust you anymore. I'm getting
and
on.
now they're suffering.
Yes.
They're like, how can we meet with you guys? You know, I was celibate for 10 years, and then I started dating this girl, and we started sleeping together, and now things are just falling apart, and we're not even married yet, and she doesn't want. So, man,
Or some of them that get married, and they're not even wanting to. They don't trust God's timing, and so they're getting on social media sites to date and all this, and then it seems like the perfect person, and then next thing you know, their marriages are falling apart because they didn't work on themselves in that interim. What else does it say on there?
that was it.
I don't have that other contact in, so I can't see. So we're talking about we talked about the unspoken rules. Now we're talking about unconscious roles, which is we get married and we have these roles that we think. And I thought I was supposed to be the cook. I was supposed to clean the house until that got to be really hard on me. And then I was thinking, I felt like I was Cinderella.
And you're supposed to clean the house in a French maid outfit, by the way.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
I was feeling like I needed.
I'm just keeping it real.
Which would have been great.
You like the way I clean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, girl.
Yeah. If you had helped me clean, I probably could have done that. But you know,
now we call it chore play. Okay, so yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we have these roles that we think, and then we get married. Well, all of a sudden now it's going off. What is it saying? And so we have these unconscious roles. We get married, we think, and then we're mad at the other person because, you know, maybe the husband thought, well, I saw my mom cook dinner every night. I saw her clean the house. I saw her not work. I saw whatever. And he expects his wife to do that. Well, she's thinking, well, I want to have a career.
I was raised by a single mom, and she worked, and she paid all the bills, and she did everything, and so that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. So you've got to talk about, you've got to become aware of them. You got to be able to discuss them. You know, it's okay to write a new script. It's okay to write a new
change the rules up
way that you're going to do marriage. It doesn't automatically have to be the way that you saw your parents do it, or the way, and even if you've been married 30 years and you've been doing a certain way, it's okay to discuss things. It's okay to accept some of those rules or some of those roles. It's okay to reject some of them, maybe to challenge some of them. Why is it done that way, and why do we have to keep doing it that way? You can change the rules. You can talk about it openly. You have to be able to talk about it openly and to create a new vision for your marriage. And I mean, that's what we did, and we were the most opposite people of opposite, and we still managed to, we're still working this out, but we've come we're not where we used to be. And we don't, the little things like that aren't the things that we are bickering about all the time.
So instead of staying at home and arguing and fighting at home and keep doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting it to be different, this time when I say it, it's probably going to be different. And it's not. And we stay in that crazy cycle. We had to do something that was outside of our comfort zone. So we started going to church. We started going to marriage classes. Did I want to go? Absolutely not. Did I want to be involved? No. I just wanted to hang out and, let it all get better all on its own. It does not get better all on its own. It doesn't magically disappear. It doesn't magically get better. We have to do it ourselves. We have to do the work. We can't win the trophy for you guys. You're going to have to get out and be in the game.
And so if you're about to get married, you're in pre-marriage and you're about to get married, and you have, talk about these roles, these unconscious roles that you have. Make them become some of them are conscious, some of them are unconscious. Talk about these rules that you have. How are you going to do things? If you're already married, then it might be a little bit harder to undo some of that stuff. But instead of, I used to get so angry with Richard because I would be, vacuuming and telling him, I feel like Cinderella around here. And he was like, oh, wow, great. You're living your dream. You got your oven and your little vacuum cleaner like you were, a kid. And
you used to do the easy bake oven and pretend vacuum. Now you got to do it for real.
And so I feel like Cinderella, and I'm just going around. I'm just letting them see how miserable.
That makes me Prince Charming. I'm like, you're welcome.
Seeing how miserable I am, but I'm like, no, before the ball, not after the ball. And but I was angry about cleaning all the time, but yet I kept doing it because we didn't talk about it and say, hey, we either need to both pitch in here, or we need to hire somebody to come in and to help us. Instead, I just acted angry all the time, and I wanted everybody to be in the same rut that I was in and to feel my wrath all the time. So if you've been married a while and you have some of these things, you can still fix them. You can still rewrite some of that. You can talk about those rules, but the main thing is to open up the communication. Don't try to tackle them all at one time. Just start little baby steps. Do one little thing differently. That's what we did. And just little by little, things got better and better. And now it's not so hard. We still go through stuff, but it gets easier as you go along.
That's right.
You know,
And so the next 2 videos that we're going to do are going to be expectations in marriage. If you missed the beginning of this one, it's always going to be on our Facebook, and then it's also on YouTube. So you can go back and see it at therealbrights.com.
Yeah, so we are going to, so this is myth number 1, which is we expect exactly the same thing in marriage, and then we'll do the other different myths about
And they're going to be good, y'all.
Yeah, they're all going to be really good. They're not going to all be about expectation, but we'll have the different myths. And these are the things that cause people to either stay married and have a successful marriage, or things that can break people apart. So like you said, we really appreciate if you guys can share these videos, because we want to be able to get out there and help other people. Richard, God put it on his heart to reach 1
million people. 1 million people.
And we're only
Seems like everybody
900
else can do it with just frivolous things. And so here we are actually helping. Hopefully.
Helping each other.
Well, I know, man. I know we're doing better by it. So
there's the YouTube channel is therealbrights.com. So we just started that. We have some videos on there. There's probably about 8 or 10 videos on there now. So if you guys could subscribe to our channel, that would be great. Share these videos. If y'all want to do a comedy date night, we do comedy for marriages, mostly at churches, because our stuff is clean, but it's really good. It's about marriage. And so our website is therealbrights.com. Our Instagram is therealbrights. And we just want to stay connected with you guys and just get the word out.
So thank you guys for tuning in on your Sunday night. You could be spending it anywhere, but you're watching it with us. We just appreciate that.
And then just, we love the messages that you're sending us. And
1 million people or 1 million couples? I like 1 million couples, Michelle.
Okay.
1 million couples.
Yes.
That's even better. Because that means
2 million.
I thought it was 4.
Huh? If it's
See, I didn't like school, so
2 million. Remember how in Austin, or what do they do? And you go, $2 million.
right.
Yeah, that's nothing now. So I guess we should say 1 billion, but we're going to start out with 1 million couples. So we love you guys. We thank y'all. Share our videos. We appreciate you. Peace out.
Deuce.